What is up, everybody? Mayfly guys here with another tutorial. Gonna do a Mayfly today. Pretty simple. We don't have those like prolific Mayfly hatches that happen out west. You know, we do have good Mayfly hatches, but not anywhere near that sort of Colorado, Montana, you know, Washington, those kinds of hatches. So I tie a very simple Mayfly that works very, very well. Here's just a size 16. Typically fished anywhere from size 22 to size 14. This is 14-aught sheer. It's like a cinnamon brown kind of color. So I'm going to tie in the tail first, and I like these Mayfly tails. They look like this. They're really, really small. They don't add a lot of bulk. You can split them, you can keep them the same. I'm going to keep these the same. And I like to make them about the same length as my body. So that looks like a good length. The only important thing is just to make sure that they're tied in on top, because they'll want to roll on you. So when you go to secure them, just make sure that they are on top. And if you see an errant fiber, like this one, I have an errant tail. You can just yank them out. Boom, just like that. And there you go. Now I don't have that errant fiber. So I'm going to wrap them up all the way to where I want my body to stop, which is about 2 eye lengths behind, two eye lengths behind here. So right about there is pretty good. And then I'm just going to work my way back. You want the tails to stay on top so that your body is uniform. So how's that look? So there we go. A nice, see how they're nice and straight. They follow the hook. Very, very good looking. So now I'm going to make the body. And the body I'm going to use is peacock quill, and you can make the body a million different things, but here I have these hand stripped, just Polish quills. This is a golden olive. I really like the color. You can, reds, obviously, Hendricksons and stuff like that. You can change up the color for sure, yellows and stuff. So there is a black edge and a colorful edge, and what you want to do is make sure that the black edge is facing up when you tie it in. Now, I guess this is not imperative, but I like the black to be the trailing edge and the colorful side to be the leading edge. And that's the way you tie it in if you want that to happen. So, now it's tied in. Again, these are very, very brittle, so be careful when you go to wrap them that you don't catch the hook the hook point or anything like that, because they are very, very brittle. Alright, so there we go. We have our nice wraps, and we're just going to wrap forward. Touching wraps, not overlapping, but touching. And there, whoop, see, there you go. There's a prime example. Probably just edit that out for you guys, because that's embarrassing. Alright, so let's try that again. Alright, there we go. So touching wraps, you want that olive to come through. There we go, that's pretty good. Now, I would give it 2 safety wraps, because you see there, I just sort of pulled it a little extra hard, but it broke off. Very, very easy to break off. Alright, so let's see how that looks. Pretty good. Now, I'm just going to add a little drop of UV glue on the body. Because they're so fragile. They break easily if you don't cover them. So I like to cover them with a little UV resin. This is Solarez thin, and really, really thin. You do not want a lot here. Really don't want a lot. Very, very thin amount. And just make sure it's an even coat. So now this will add a little protection, and it will make the life of the fly last a lot longer. So there we go, that's not bad. Very, very light coat. You don't want to add any sort of bulk to the body, just a very, very light coat. Alright, so now I just work back to my body, and then I just have some yellow dubbing here. This is caddis dubbing, I think. It's really more for nymphs. I don't have any dry fly dubbing in this yellow color, but this stuff works just fine. So I put a little wax on, and this is going to be a really small ball for the abdomen thorax transition. So just make a really fine noodle, stay close to the body, and that looks great. So you see it's a very, very small ball. You don't want to make it too big. What I do is if there's any longer fibers, just trim them off. Maybe you want longer fibers, I don't know. But just trim them off. A good pair of, so like you see that top fiber sticking out, a good pair of tweezers can yank those out. Okay, so that's good. We got our body, we got our little thorax abdomen transition. Now for the wing, I use CDC in white because it floats really well. And all I do is I take 3 CDC feathers and I line them up. Make sure they're sort of folding the right way. And I pat them down so they kind of are in a smooth bundle. And I tie them in right on top. I'll tie it in longer. So just do a few wraps. I'll tie it in longer than I want on the front. So what I'll do is I'll pull it back. Just pull it back until this front puff is as tall as I want it. So like this is too tall. So I'm going to keep going. And that is pretty close. Maybe just a smidge more. Because the wings, as you guys know, are very, very tall on a mayfly. So this is good. So what I do is I fold all the fibers back, and I'll start making a little dam out front. And what that will do is hopefully, that looks pretty good, will cause this to go straight up with a little forward angle. You don't want it to be like this, you know, really far forward. You really want it to be kind of straight up. Because if you look at a mayfly, you'll notice that their wings are pretty much straight up vertical. So this is pretty good. Now we don't want all this back here, all this fluff, you know, these extended. So you want the wing to follow sort of a downward angle. So you just want to trace the tops of these and work down at an angle. So there's my cut. Now you'll see it doesn't line up perfectly. These top don't line up perfectly, so feel free to go in and cut. Just trim it a little bit. And what you'll get, trim any errant fibers there. Don't worry about cutting the tips. What you get is a much nicer sort of wing profile. And that wing profile looks a lot more realistic to what the bugs actually look like. And then that's it. So there's your nice wing profile. There's your mayfly. All I'm going to do is go ahead and whip finish real quick. And just give it a few. Make sure you don't trap any fibers. Boom. And there you go. There's your quick and easy Mayfly. Super adaptable. You can change it to really any color that you want. I really like this fly. I think it's great. Looks very realistic in the water. Floats really well. And catches a lot of fish. So very, very simple. So I hope you guys like this video. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to ask. You can also check us out on Instagram at Mayfly guys. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.